Welcome back. The Agricultural Credit Guarantee Scheme Fund, which is managed by the Central Bank of Nigeria, has guaranteed 1.332 million loans given to farmers across the country. The monetary value of the loans was estimated at 130.903 billion naira. The Apex Bank also challenged farmers to join hands in revitalizing the country's $430 billion economy by enhancing value addition and diversification. These were the highlights of the National Award ceremony for the 2021 Best Farmer of the Year Award under the aegis of ACGSF held in Abuja. According to the chairman, CGSF, Mr. Stephen Okon, a total of 1,232,326,000 loans valued at 130.903 billion naira were guaranteed from inception to May 2022, out of which 973,646 beneficiaries had repaid a total of 98.91 billion naira. He noted that the Federal Capital Territory had from January to May 2022 guaranteed a total of 82 loans under the scheme valued at 22.580 million naira. This, according to him, brought the total guaranteed loans in the FCT from inception of the scheme in 1978 to May 2022 to 14,258, valued 1.748 billion naira. In terms of loan recovery, Okon said 11,726 loans valued at 801.058 million naira were repaid under the scheme in the FCT from inception, noting that the record shows a high level of commitment of the officers in the FCT as well as the determination of the farmers to utilize the opportunities offered by the scheme to empower themselves and improve their loans. On the news, the National Council on Privatization has appointed Zainab Ahmed, Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, as the chairman of the Nigerian Electricity Liability Management Company, NELCO, board. This is just as the council noted that a thorough performance assessment revealed that most of the set performance targets were not met by the 9 electricity distribution companies. Recall that Abubakar Liu, the Minister of Power, had recently admitted the failure of the power sector to provide the much-needed energy, blaming the failure on the activities of terrorists, which made most of the power installations inaccessible nationwide. The NCP, however, approved the proposed governance framework for the sustainable management and payment of post-privatization liabilities of the power sector transferred to the Nigerian Electricity Liability Management Company, NEPCO board. The council, according to a statement by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Media and Publicity, Office of the Vice President, Laolu Akande, also approved the fast-tracking of the work plan for the concession of Zungeru Hydroelectric Power Plant. The council rising from its third meeting in 2022, which held at the Presidential Villa, presided by the Vice President Yemi Osibanjo, announced the composition of NEPCO board, which includes the Minister of Finance as chairman. The new board also has the Minister of Power, Director General, Bureau of Public Enterprises, Director General, Debt Management Office, Managing Director, NEPCO, and all of its executive directors as members. It was also resolved that 2 key members from the private sector be included in the board. The meeting had in attendance council members, including federal ministers and representatives of federal ministries, such as the Minister of Water Resources, Suleiman Adamu, Director General of the Bureau of Public Enterprises, Alex Okol, Head of MDS, and other senior government officials. The Nigerian Exchange Limited has, effective from Friday, the July 1st, suspended trading in shares of 9 companies for defaulting in filing their audited financial statement for the year ended December 31st, 2021. These companies are African Alliance Insurance PLC, Niger Insurance PLC, Royal Exchange PLC, EcoCorp PLC, CNI Leasing PLC, Mutual Benefit Assurance PLC, Coronation Insurance PLC, Premier Paints PLC, Adova PLC. Nigerian Stock Exchange, GRI, and PRI collaborations to boost awareness on the ESG data metrics for sustainable investing. The suspension in this company's shares will only be lifted upon the submission of the relevant accounts provided by the Nigerian Stock Exchange Regulations Limited. Is satisfied that the accounts comply with all applicable rules of the Nigerian Stock Exchange. Still on the stock exchange market and commodity market, Nigerian stock market started the new month of July on a slightly positive note, plus 2.02%, thanks to stocks like Kutix, which rose by 9.78% or 22 kobo. Caverton Offshore Support Group, which increased by 9 kobo or 8.82%, and the Initiate, which was up by 4 kobo or 10%. As companies are now announce their closing periods in preparation for half-year result, it is expected to further catalyst the market journey northwards as investors position for interim dividends. Week on week, the market posted positive returns of plus 0.24% or 67 billion naira gains amid 3 trading sections of gains as against 2 days of losses. The week's gain was driven by gains in the banking and insurance stocks, despite profit taken in consumer goods, oil and gas, and industrial stocks. At the close of the week's trading section on Friday, July the 1st, the market's positive return year-to-date printed slightly higher at plus 21.33%. This came despite the last month saw more bearish trading sections as investors traded cautiously following the monetary policy rate hike by the Central Bank of Nigeria in May. In June, some investors stayed on the sidelines anticipating more attractive rates in the fixed income space. The Nigerian Exchange Limited All-Share Index and market capitalization increased from week open low of 51,705 and 27.874 trillion respectively, 51,829 and 27.941 trillion naira. Still on commodity market, Nigerian Exchange Limited Global Reporting Initiatives, African and Principle for Responsible Investment organized a webinar tagged Empowering Responsible Investing Through Data Metrics, Environmental, Socials, and Governance, ESG. Speaking at the event, Temiko Kwola, Chief Executive Officer, Nigerian Stock Exchange, stated, as the sustainable exchange championing Africans' growth, Nigerian Exchange Limited understands the pivotal role that ESG performance plays in ensuring a company's long-term sustainability, followed by our commitment to foster the growth of long-term sustainable finance and promote the adoption of sustainable business practices among our listed companies. We unveiled the Nigerian Stock Exchange Sustainability Disclosure Guidelines in 2019. Working with global reporting initiatives, we have continued our engagement with GRI to promote the adoption of ESG reporting through the Nigerian Stock Exchange Sustainability Disclosure Guidelines. He added, sharing insights on the value of incorporating ESG data metrics for responsible investment. Darren Scorgi, head of African Signatory Relations, noted that African investors are recognizing that their journey to a sustainable financial system is going to be little different from developing markets and are increasingly itching forward by considering investment in sustainable outcome alongside their objective for long-term financial returns. Dave Rosbeck, Director of Capital Markets, insights on the value of ESG integration for investors and regulators, stating, for investors, ESG metric is key to look at financial materiality and impact and to put sustainable expectations and data in the context of emerging markets. In addition, for regulators in it's important to align as much as possible with existing sustainable standards to create a global common language and metrics to reduce the compliance burden, time, and costs. The virtual event was set up in line with the exchange commitment to foster growth of long-term sustainability finance in Nigerian capital market in a bid to help investors, companies, market regulators, and practitioners by an opportunity for sharing experiences and strategies on how investors make sound investment decisions using ESG metrics and data. Other speakers at the event include Chinua Azubike, CEO Infracredit, Temilade Adulja, Head of Investors Relations, Dangote Cement PLC, and Nicole Martin, Senior Stewardship Professional, Old Mutual Investments, amongst others. We'll go for a short break, and when we come back, Business Roundup continues. Please go nowhere. Multi-level marketing scams in Nigeria. Many of the multi-level marketing and AYIP businesses operating in Nigeria are a complete waste of time, energy, and resources. Many Nigerians have said tales about their involvement in multi-level marketing in Nigeria. Multi-level marketing exists in many countries across the world, and as a matter of fact, multi-level marketing is one of the best business models, but has been abused by coin artists who use it to defraud people in Nigeria. There are at least 10 ways to easily dictate scam outfits in the market, no matter how cleverly disguised they are. The problem is that many Nigerians are gullible, greedy, and undiscerning, therefore easily deceived by the coin artists and their promises. A discerning Nigerian who can sit down to analyze multi-level marketing promises will be able to detect the fraudulent ones before signing up with any. There are a few legitimate multi-level marketing operating in the Nigerian market. Not all really are scam, but many are scam and should be avoided. The key to success in multi-level marketing is the ability to know the right company, that is the legitimate, rewarded ones to do business with, not jumping into anyone you see, as Nigerians literally do. A multi-level marketing company that is focused on recruiting of persons into the network and pays a recruiter a commission for recruiting others into the network cannot be a legitimate multi-level marketing business to do business with. Many of the multi-level marketing businesses that have crashed in Nigeria belong to this category. They are designed to benefit not only 5% of the investors and eventually crash with the rest 95% frustrated. They have a product which cannot sell in the Nigerian market, and they tell you the way to make money and move up their network is by recruiting people and getting reward. Please beware. Frustration sets in when a recruit is unable to get new recruits. This happens when the market for new recruits quickly gets saturated, as everyone is looking for a recruit who has already been recruited or is not interested. The multi-level marketing business to sign up with is that which focuses on the sales of its products and recruits sales persons but does not pay any commission or reward to anyone for recruiting others. It pays commission based on products sold, not for persons recruited. They have products which are sellable and easily sellable in the Nigerian market. For high-yielding investment platform, popularly known as hurriedly yielding into poverty, one of the ways to detect them is to look for their consistency in fixed return throughout the business lifespan. AYIP is a financial investment which promises consistent fixed returns throughout the life of the investment. This is a lie, because in the real business world, there is no such thing as consistent fixed return in the market. Interest rates always move up and down in the financial market. The promise of consistent fixed return is a bait to lure in and others. Welcome back, and just in case you're just joining us, this is Business Roundup here on Atlantic Television Network. The issue of inflation has become a very trending issue right now across the world, not just in Nigeria. Some people from other quarters have said that it is due to the fact that Russia and Ukraine war that started in February the 23rd has led to this uprising, and also it is a major challenge on staple foods, and it's spreading fast to African. Additional also in his speech to African Bank, that's the president of African Developmental Bank, did not fall short also to give analysis on this particular thing, and he talks about the spillover of food shortages in Africa. But then before this time, people have wondered and asked, don't we have other issues that are pressing in Africa? And why should food challenges and inflation surreptitiously find its way into Africa? So joining me right now to help us discuss some of this issue is Ibe Wada. And Ibe Wada is a social commentator, and she's also a journalist. And she'll be helping us throw light on this issue right now. Ibe Wada, so good to have you on the show.
Good afternoon, Godwin.
Yeah, so good to have you today on the show.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me once again. I think this is the second time being on your show.
Yeah, Ibe Wada. So Ibe Wada, let's get this conversation going. The way it is right now. What's your inflation story?
Did you just see the way I exclaimed? Like, I can't even start from the etymological style of it, because it's crazy. It's crazy in the sense that things are becoming difficult for a common man in this country. You know, when there is inflation, economics will tell you that it's because businessmen and women want a boom in their businesses, and at a point there's an end to that. But as it is right now, the continuous increase in prices of food and other commodity in market is making it unbearable for the common man in the society. The inflation story in my area is terrible, in the sense that everyone finds it difficult to keep his or her family tight in the aspect of economy. You know, inflation, the increase in prices of a lot of things in the market has become unbecoming, and is something that we need government intervention as fast as possible before it becomes a problem. Yeah, it's already a problem, because when there is increase and there's lack in the society, it gives birth to a lot of issues. It gives birth to insecurity, it gives birth to terrorism, and it gives birth to it gives birth to criminal activities in the society. That is all I have to say concerning my area as regards to inflation.
So in terms of fuel shortages, like the World Bank have said that fuel shortages is affecting. Have you experienced any form of fuel shortages in your environment so far also?
As of last week, we found it very difficult to come to work. You know, before now, the increase in bus fees, everybody has been shouting, and no one wants to say anything or wants to create a solution for that. But as of 2 weeks ago and last week, there was what we called panic buying in my area. A lot of people we are even buying to store. A lot of people we are buying to um, a lot of people we are buying to keep and resell when it becomes terrible for the common man to to buy. Um, Fuel issues in my area. As a journalist, I decided to carry out a research and ask one or two fuel stations in my area, and some of them was of the opinion that it wasn't really a fuel shortage, rather it was diesel, and some of these tankers need diesel to bring fuel to their station. And in a situation where there's no diesel, tankers can cannot bring fuel to their station. So it's a two-way thing. It's interwoven. While we have diesel inflation and shortage, we also have fuel shortage, because if a diesel if a tank driver cannot get a diesel to fuel his tank, it becomes very difficult to bring fuel to the doorposts of the commoners. Yes,
Hmm.
the fuel.
This is really an irony, if you ask me, that a fuel distributor needs diesel to supply the fuel. So,
Exactly.
so when you don't have the diesel to supply the fuel, the whole masses are being held at a standpoint.
Exactly.
So
And
this is, yeah, okay, I'm with you. I'm with you.
in a situation where there is no fuel, all the activities of the country is being crippled. Workers find it very difficult to find their ways to work. Even people that need fuel to produce some of their should I say, to even run their businesses. It's not a country that has 247 lights. In short, as of 2 weeks ago, it was terrible for people that uses NEPA lights. Even in my area, I think up till now we are yet to see lights in my area. So imagine if there's no fuel, imagine what it will cost. There's no lights, there's no NEPA light, there's no fuel to even generate your own personal light. So everything crippled. And now imagine when you are even finding it very difficult to get money. And when you see this money, you still find it difficult to get those commodities that are necessary, basic necessity of human living. Like it's becoming terrible. And I don't even know the place of the government in this situation, because if you ask me, I don't see everybody is running up and down for propagandas and campaigns for 2023. Nobody wants to provide solutions for the common man to even survive before 2023 election. Can you imagine that?
So let's talk about the gas in your area right now. When it comes to, we'll talk about the fossil fuel and the PMS and what have you. So right now we're also aware that the price of gas also has gone to 900 naira per kg. Is
Like
that also
in my area, it is 1,200. Shodi. It is
okay?
1,200 per kg.
So
Now, a lot of people have resorted to using firewood. It's even difficult to find firewood in Lagos. So what people do now is to go as far as going to Ogun State, Ibadan, to get firewood just for them to cook. People cannot buy kerosene. We cannot buy fuel. We cannot buy gas. Like, it's very, very terrible and annoying at the same time, because when you see that you are working hard to make money, and at the same time this money does not even give you purchasing value. Now, how then do we survive in this kind of nation? I'm sorry, I'm ranting on national TV. I'm sorry, but
no,
then it's
it's
annoying.
fine. It's fine. You're my guest, so you're free to express the way it is. But then, one would want to ask right now that, okay, as a person,
Yeah.
will you, if you've been given the opportunity right now to evaluate and appraise the general economy of Nigeria from 2015 till date, what will your appraisal be like?
The As of May 27 or so, and was published on the Vanguard in June, it was stated over there that the National Bureau of Statistics have seen that there's increase in inflation in Nigeria from what it used to be to 17.7%. Now, imagine when we have inflation that probably used to be 15 points and now is 17 points. And in the same country where the what is it called, the I'm sorry, I'm trying to remember the word, the should I say the money meant for if you are working, it's just 30,000 naira. I'm looking for the name. I've forgotten.
Minimum wage.
The minimum wage. Thank you very much. Minimum wage for a Nigerian that is working in a company, you are being paid 30,000 naira. And in 2015, let's assume you are being paid 30,000 naira in 2015, you can foot your bills. And of course, even if it wasn't enough as of then, at least it can sustain your family, you and your family. Now in 2016, in 2017, down to 2022. Now the prices of toothpaste that used to be 200 naira is now 600 naira. And by the time you have 2 to 3 kids in a family, you're making using toothpaste of 600 naira twice in a month. Now your bill, your minimum wage is 30,000 naira. How then do you survive? So I cannot even give a praiser because it is glaring to the deaf and other it is audacious to the deaf and of course glaring to the blind that this country is getting to a point where the common man will no longer breathe. Yes. It will be getting to a point where you and I have to even run away from the because an average there's not nothing like an average man in Nigeria anymore. It's either you are rich or you are poor. And if you are poor, is in the range of you and I because with the 30,000 minimum wage being paid as of 2018 to 2020 to 2022. So it becomes terrible for everybody to survive on.
So speaking of even of the comparison in terms of prices and then when it comes to the applications of those price control modalities in Nigeria, I know Lagos is one very interesting environment where you cannot predict your price of transportation. Have you,
especially when it rains?
The fuel shortages, does it have any inflationary price impact on the price of transportation right now in your environment?
Negative. There's this quick syndrome. They want to make this money very fast at every given opportunity. Even when they still have this fuel before there's fuel shortage, they will still increase their prices because Mr. B that doesn't have fuel got his or her fuel in a high rate of money. So since I still have fuel, it's better for me to increase my own price so that when it's still like that, I want to go and buy, I won't be at a loss. Now, imagine when a bus driver is going to get his fuel. Probably his neighbor has already told him that today's fuel price is 600 naira, for example, and already he has gotten his of yesterday 500 naira. When he gets to the road and see that everybody is stranded, there is no car because there's no fuel. Oh boy, everybody will increase their transportation fare from 500 to 700. In short, 700 is even lesser to what they can increase it to. So as of last week, because I'm a commoner and I don't even have a vehicle, I know what I used to suffer from where I stay to my destination at my place of work. And it dare not come late. Imagine when you are asked to come to work by 7 a.m. and there is no vehicle, and you saw one that is telling you from where you are to your destination is 1,000. God will want to enter.
I just choose to laugh over the answer because you know
it's
my
not
answer
funny.
as good as well because
but it's not funny at all. It's not really funny. And I kept on telling everyone that if you are rich in this society, there is no going back. My friend will always say, anything where you see, carry on for your head. I'm sorry for this
all right.
booking.
So let's come back a bit to the issue around the economical implications of inflation. The World Bank have given us a rough figure that they don't see Nigerian pulling through 2023 and 2024 in terms of coming out of this inflation now deficits that we find ourselves. Do you think that the assertion is correct, going by the fact that Nigerian is super blessed as a country?
Well, during the time of President Muhammadu Buhari, when he ascended as the president of Nigeria, he decided to, he asked all Nigerians to go back to the farm. And we are all grumbling that why should we go back to the farm? In early 1970, 1972 and 1973 or so, when Yakubu Gowon was on throne or was in power, then we have oil boom. Nobody knew that Nigeria is so rich to that extent that we can produce such amount of oil and we can sell and make money. And this money, even Yakubu Gowon came out and said Nigeria has so much money, is how to spend it that is a problem. So a lot of people abandoned their work in their various villages in their various areas and decided to come to urban areas to seek for white collar job. Now, till when we have different succession in governance, now we were not able to maintain our oil boom. Everybody decided to leave what was giving us money. Agriculture was there. We have gold, we have mining, a lot of things that was giving Nigerians and Nigeria money, enough money to keep us. Then I bet if you are asked to go back to your village to start cultivating and leave journalism, I'm very sure you want to fight it, because you tell me that you are not called to farm, you are not called to be a farmer, you are called to be a journalist, right? But then, as a journalist, are you not entitled to also feed your family through substantial farming? Can't you do that as a journalist? Of course you can, but laziness will not allow us to go back to such. Now, until we're sure the inflation rate is going to disappear anytime soon, it's not a magic, it's a process. And that process is when you and I decide to gradually trace our roots back to where we come from. When our forefathers used to go to the farm, from there they were able to feed their numerous wives and children. Until then, I'm not sure this inflation issue will stop.
So you're not in any way saying that this whole inflation stuff has anything to do with so if the Russia war ends tomorrow, you don't see us pulling out of this inflation soon?
Well, it's a 50-50 something. Even before the Russia war, we are in inflation, right? The Ukraine and Russia. Before the war, we are inflation. We hardly see what to buy, even when we have the money to buy. That is why if you go to the market, it's difficult for you to even see vegetable, because they will tell you the woman that supplies vegetable didn't come today. Monopoly. Now, aside from inflation, we are getting to a stage where we have monopoly of different activities. Because if I happen to go back to my father's farm to start farming, in the next 10 years, you that is in the studio from morning till night can only find money, but you'll not find food. So if I refuse to sell to you, obviously there's no food for you and your family. So even before the Russia and Ukraine fight, Nigeria has been in a state of high increase in demand and less supply. And this is what causes inflation. Yes, a lot of businessmen will tell you that sometimes inflation is necessary for a businessman, for growth and all of that. But then, for how long should we continue? For the businessmen to continue to fill their own pockets and allow the commoner to suffer? Well, inflation might decrease gradually if the Russia war stops. But I'm not saying that it will end it totally. We Nigerians have a lot of work to put into before it can stop. And like I said before, it's a process, it's not a magic.
It's a process and it's not a magic. But then one thing I'll beg of you is that when you start producing, please don't deprive me of the food. It's very important. But then let's get to even more concrete issues that borders on this whole inflation trajectory that Nigeria has found ourselves right now. The World Bank has given us our statistics, and also the Bureau of Statistics of Nigeria,
the NBA,
have given us their own statistics on what they think. I think the last statistic I'm working with right now is a statistic of that of June. That of May. The that of June is yet out. The one of May is what we're still working with on the various sector, giving us various statistical values and figures on what's going on generally in the country. And one begins to wonder at this point in time, if the youth are not going into agriculture and are not becoming innovative by going into creation of fossil fuel, if the youth are not diversifying into green energy, and fuel shortages is weakening our economy, don't you think that this time it will be wise for the government to begin to engage teenagers to be able to boost the economy of Nigeria?
Teenager at what age, Godwin? Because if you want to involve teenagers, I don't know the level of sustenance that will be there because
What I meant is this: in a situation where we have teenagers from schools, remember those
okay.
days when you were in school, we used to do trading and they teach you how to do agricultural farming,
Mm-hmm.
grassroots farming, you farm in school. So if the teenagers can be and engrossed at that point, they can be captivated at that point, and they begin to also help out to produce from their local farms in school, then they make a large chain of supply. Don't you think this will also ameliorate the level of the dependence on petroleum shortage and also the food shortage, and also create a balance in the inflation rate in Nigeria?
Well, it has a level to which they can contribute to the stop of food shortage in Nigeria and other things you mentioned. I can't
Right.
imagine when you mention a teenager starts from the age of 11 to 19. And from the age of 11 to 19, such person, if not deprived of basic necessity, should be in school to study and learn.
No,
But as
they'll still be in school. I'm looking at it, they'll still be in school, but they can be
okay,
producing, doing their animal husbandry in school, within the school
in
circumference.
secondary
And
school,
also we take
and
it from there.
in secondary school, you're talking about commercial farming. How
Yeah,
can you ask?
perhaps.
You ask a child that is 12 years old? Because I wouldn't want to mention those in the university, because if you want to come down to university, they will tell you that people studied agriculture, and those ones in agriculture should be given the mandate to produce what the country wants, not someone that is studying medicine. You ask someone studying medicine to go into farm, ask someone studying engineering to go into farm and all of that, because they're still seeing it as option, except that they have this foresight. Okay, I can still be in the farm as an engineering student. I can still be in the farm, but as it is now, there's no youth in this country that is studying engineering and medicine that want to go into farming. It's not possible. They will not even accept that. But bringing it down to secondary school, you mentioned animal husbandry, where they are taught basic farming and all of that. Can a child that is 12-year old, 13, 14, if you're talking about producing in larger quantity, that is commercial farming, can the same person be able to handle tractor, the machineries needed for large production? Could they be able to handle such machineries? Won't you tag that as child labor at the same time? Because that is what the European did to us when they came to suffer Nigerians. Yes, I'm using in quotes. You can't ask a child that is 14, 13 to go into commercial farming. That is child labor. So as I'm not seeing it in any way they can contribute largely to contributing to decreasing inflation and of course food shortage and other things. No, 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 no. It's not possible. I'm not saying not possible, but it's very rare and is really is invisible. I'm sorry, is invisible. I'm not trying. I will not accept that. Not at all. Like asking my last born that is in just 3 to go into commercial farming. You don't turn the child into child labor already now.
All right. So what we want to be tempted to ask at this point, whether when we say the teenagers are no go area to be able to be innovative in terms of coming up with fossil fuels, and also coming up with a lot of innovation as far as the green technology is concerned, we can channel their strength into productivity, and with the youth will not be willing to also to stain their hands by going into the field. They don't want to dent their hands. And also
Yeah,
the adult, acclaimed adult right now, they are already occupied with too many things in their hands. So one will be tempted to ask at this point, Ibiwada, in terms
yeah.
of inflation and general World Bank purview on Nigeria and its inflational drive, where do we go from here?
I think I mentioned earlier that this is the right time for the government to step in. This is the right time for the government to introduce what I call price control. And how does price control contribute to the issue of discussion? By the time government is able to support and encourage traders, there was a time there was something called trader money by Obasanjo and Buhari. I can't really remember the whole discussion right now, but if you can support traders, you can give them soft loans to go into farming to support their businesses, because during the time of COVID-19, a lot of people lost their businesses to COVID. Yeah, there was no buying enough buying and selling as of that time. So many lost their businesses, and many were up to date are not able to stand on their feet. So if these people could be supported in a way, and there's price control by the government, and of course give them what they need, such as making sure that I didn't even remember to mention that Nigerian has refinery. We have different refinery. Government should go back to reviving this refinery first of all. At least we should start from there. If we can produce fuel, crude oil, and refine it in our country, at least it's in a way it can go a long way. Instead of after producing crude oil, we go ahead to import fuel to the country. That is what is contributing to the inflation we are having today. So by the time government is able to revive refinery, step in and control prices, um, produce soft loans for businesses and business owners, I think with this and others, then there will be control in inflation in Nigerian market
All
today.
right, just before I let you go, a lot of persons from a lot of quarters have said, and I will try
Okay.
to quote or paraphrase, that
All right.
Nigerian inflation is not due, Nigerian fuel shortages is not due to the fact that there is scarcity of petrol in the country or there is
Yeah.
scarcity of PMS in the country, but it is due to the fact that some form of Mephistophelian cabals that control the oil sector are responsible for this particular act and also this particular action. Do you agree with this submission? And if yes or no, what do you think we can do right now to deregularize the petroleum or the petrol or petrochemical sectors in order to be able to help Nigerians or also to deregulate?
And I want to ask you, these cabals, are they humans?
I wouldn't know if they are machines. I'm the one to ask the question, Ibe Wada, so I wouldn't know. So that's why I'm pushing the questions to you, Ibe.
Because if we have cabals that controls petroleum in Nigeria, these cabals should have human feelings.
Alleged cabals, alleged.
Okay.
There's alleged cabals control, they call them the Mephistophelian cabals controlling the
Okay.
petroleum sector. So I don't know
So,
if you agree to that they are the reason or
well,
the cause why. Okay, go on, please.
well, as a Nigerian, I am tempted to believe that some people that are not even in petroleum industry are, are decision makers in petroleum industry. These people doesn't even know what it contains, the nitty-gritty involved in petroleum businesses. But these people are in charge of putting prices and making sure that everybody abide by these prices. So I wouldn't know whether it's true or not, but if these alleged cabals are human beings, I think it's high time for them to have feelings for humans that are suffering in this nation. Because the high time, the more they continue to, should I use the word, frustrate the commoners, the difficult it becomes for them to live as well. So there's a saying that whatever goes around comes around, whether they like it or not. I don't even really have much to say about this cabal because, like you mentioned, it's alleged, and I wouldn't want to say something I am not really sure of on this space. So let me say, let's leave it at that. But if they really have human conscience, it's high time they submit to their conscience and make things easy for the common man and for the common goals of this country.
I really like your submission since it's an alleged. Let's leave it at that.
Yes,
And if the alleged cabals are listening to us right now, if you're watching, Ibe Wada is adding a voice that please you should have sympathy for the common man on the street.
exactly. They should.
Ibe
They
Wada
should.
is also saying that she's a commoner, but I know that she doesn't look like a commoner. But then it is what it is right now, and
I
that
am
is what
actually. I am.
we wouldn't know because we wouldn't know, but there's no indices to measure commoners right now in Nigeria. But they want to say, Ibe Wada, we really appreciate you for your time today on the show.
Thank you very much, Godwin, for having me today. I really appreciate and hope to see more of this.
All right. We hope to see more implementation strategies also on the part of the government. We'll go for a short break, and when we come back, Business Roundup continues. Please go nowhere.
Thank you.
Away from the conversation around inflation, Nigerian Exchange Limited and Bank of Industry have signed a memorandum of understanding to deeper capital markets, which build the capacity of stakeholders through financial literacy programs, facilitate market advocacy initiatives, and promote listings. The announcement was made during the signing ceremony led by the Chief Executive Officer, Nigerian Stock Exchange Markets, and the MD Bank of Industry, Olukayode Pitan, in Lagos. The MOU will have Nigerian Stock Exchange and Bank of Industry collaborate on driving capital market solutions through the promotions of retail participation and listings, enhancing information flow to stakeholders, and supporting the market development that further deepens capital market advocacy initiatives. Speaking about the memorandum of understanding, the CEO, Nigerian Stock Exchange Market, Temi Popola, noted that in furtherance of the exchange aim to promote the interests of stakeholders operating in the capital market, the collaboration will support various advocacy initiatives to develop the Nigerian capital market, promote information flow to small and medium enterprises about the capital market listings, procedures, and facilitates training for potential issuers on various product initiatives. Nigerian Stock Exchange will work closely with Bank of Industry to create a seamless avenue for divestment through listings of any of its investee company on the board of the Nigerian Exchange. On the spot, the MD CEO Bank of Industry, Olukayode Pitan, noted that the signing ceremony will enable Bank of Industry and the Nigerian Stock Exchange markets to jointly develop programs that will educate all stakeholders, especially large enterprises and small medium enterprises, on how to access alternative financing options. Through this partnership with the Nigerian Stock Exchange, Bank of Industry will encourage companies in which it has equity holdings, as well as its pool of current and past borrowers, to approach the exchange for initial public listings, which will serve as a veritable window for divestment and access to wider funding options. Bank of Industry mandate to promote capital inclusion supported the expansion of over 3 million enterprises and created over 7 million jobs. Additionally, capital-based banks expansion saw the bank making successful forays in the international market and raised about $3.8 billion in the last 4 years. This includes a 750 million syndicate medium-term loan in 2018, fully paid, a €1 billion syndicate loan in March 2020, a $1 billion syndicated loan in December 2020, and in addition, a €750 million senior euro bond, the first by any African nation, in February 2022. Finally, on the news, the first half of the year has come to a halt. Equities investors have seen returns from the market at plus 21.04% take a shine of yields in the fixed income market. When the Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank of Nigeria raised its key interest rate, it brought hope to savers and fixed income investors, but the rise in the first year treasury bills seems its modest, market watchers observed. The MPC, as its May meeting, hiked its policy rate by 115 basis points to 13%. The inflation rose to 17.7% in May, meaning that the central's real rate of return on all fixed income securities remained negative. Amid Nigerian rising inflation, investors are defiling many analysts' expectations, as many are not shying away from the equities for fund rotation to fixed income securities. Well, this is how far we can run today on Business Roundup. We hope and believe that we've been able to help you make some good business decisions and also understand the trend of the Nigerian market and in our inflation stories so far. You can lend your voice also on all our social media handle. Let us know and let us see what you think about the inflation in your environment. Let's see the conversation along inflation lines. What do you think about the Nigerian inflation stories? And how can we pull out of this old inflation? Should we go the normal trajectory, or we should look somewhere else for our solution? Till I come your way again, from all of us here in the studio, it is bye for now. I am Godwin Sunday.
Meet the people. ATM icons. Here we present you legends celebrated for their heroism in different fields and serve as role models today. ATN icons showing every Sunday 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Atlantic Television Network, StarTimes DTH channel 194, ATN Live on Google App Store, Facebook Atlantic Television Network, YouTube Atlantic Television Network, Instagram Atlantic TV Network, Twitter Atlantic TV Net. For sponsorship 0810 634 1777. ATN icons celebrating the giants of our time.
The people, the candidates, the party, the campaigns. What really makes an election year? Enough of the rhetorics. It's time for issue-based politics. 2023 elections. Who are the candidates? What do you know about them? Take a seat, relax, and join us for the 2023 elections on Atlantic Television Network, StarTimes, DTH, Channel 194, or ATN Live on Google Play Store and all our social media platforms. Twitter is at Atlantic TV Net. Facebook and YouTube is at Atlantic Television Network. On Instagram is at Atlantic TV Network. Elections 2023 from Mondays to Fridays at 8 p.m. Election 2023. We the people have a stake.
From the lines across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring on-spot news, live analysis, expert discussions on trending stories in politics, business, socio-economy, sports, and documentaries. So catch all the updates on the happenings around the globe. Stay focused on the fact today, only on ATN.
These people into the country illegally. That is amazing. Honourables, you human trafficker. Honourables, you are a human.
They are not picking our calls. They made up their minds.
So no agreement with the EU, but
People into the country illegally. That is amazing. Honourables, you human trafficker. Honourables, you are a human.
Hello and welcome to another edition of the program Government and Public Service. Here we x-ray and present issues and happenings around the three levels, branches, ministries, associated departments, and agencies of government, giving you an in-depth, unbiased, and factual reportage. And today on the program, these are some of the major highlights we will be looking at, starting with NAFDAC, 10 water factories shut down in Ondo State, and in the Federal Capital Territory, flooding, airing developers to bear demolition costs in the FCT. And looking at the 2023 general election, go get your PVC, says Femi Gbajabiamila. And on the indigenous people of Biafra, they warned Governor of Anambra State to stop using military against the Anambra people. Then onto the digital technology, Kaduna State is open for business, says the Deputy Governor of Kaduna, Balarabe. And on the security operative, Governor Matawali flags of training of newly recruited guard. And on the pension fund administrator story, Kaduna State remit entitlement of 383 pensioners. And in the health sector, Kwara Governor approved recruitment of 197 doctors and nurses. And in Kano State, Gandoji approved 33 million upkeep allowance for students in France. And still on the presidential amnesty program, federal government revokes training contract for former Niger Delta militants. And still here in the FCT demolition, Federal Capital Territory Administration moves to upgrade day-to-day livestock markets. Interagency Committee NAS to investigate poor debt recovery by APCON. And still from the Senate, we do not support the water resource bill, says Governor Utom. And in Benue State, Governor Utom denies involvement in road accident. Moving on to the presidency, federal government's commitment to infrastructure development bearing results. And in Ondo State, security challenges require state police, says Governor Akeredolu. And on the NDLEA, 4.5 billion naira worth of heroin in baby food cans intercepted. These are minimal we will be looking at. We'll go on a quick commercial break. When we return, we introduce our guests and continue with the story. Stay with us.
no agreement with the EU, but
Welcome back, and we take a look at the first story for today's program is on NAFDAC. 10 water factories shut down in Ondo State. The National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, has sealed 10 packaged water companies in Ondo State over non-compliance with the regulation and standard. The Ondo State coordinator of NAFDAC, Mr. Benu Philip, on Sunday in Akure, Philip said the affected companies, which spread across the state, had their premises sealed between January and June. He explained that all the affected companies were operating with expired license and producing in an unhygienic environment. He said in addition to locking the facilities, the companies will pay an administrative charge for late renewal of their registration license and submit necessary documents for the renewal process. Phillips said the license issued is not forever, adding that renewal period should be sustained to avoid regulatory interruption. He advised Nigerians to always look out for the NAFDAC registration number on sachet and bottled water, batch information, and date marking. He added that our mandate specifically is to ensure, regulate, and control the manufacturing of food, drugs, cosmetic, medical devices, and chemicals, which we refer to as regulated products. He said the agency will continue to collaborate with other agencies to ensure its set goals and targets were achieved. And I told you I won't be doing this alone. We have a guest joining us via Zoom in the person of Mr. Arua Joel Eliojo. He is a social commentator and also a journalist. Good to have you on the program, Mr. Joel. Welcome to the program.
Yes, it's my pleasure to be on your program.
Okay.
Good evening, Nigerians.
Thank you very much. Okay, we kickstart with the NAFDAC story. Now, what will you say about production companies not keeping up with NAFDAC regulations and standards?
I think it would boil down to the fact that we moved from being a very serious country to the point where we consider ourselves as being unserious. The problem is at one point in Nigeria, leadership of the regulatory body that is in question, like what we're talking about now, NAFTA, was something that we took seriously. We had a person of Professor Dora Akunyili and the late Professor Dora Akunyili. And then ever since that time, after her dispensation, we've not had, a serious look at what we consume as to water. And then water is something that we should consider as life. Water is something that is necessary in our daily activities. As we consume these things, it has an impact on our health. And so if we treat these kind of things with levity, it doesn't actually hold water. It tells how unserious we are as a country. So if factories that, it's more like we are putting our lives in their hands. If these factories do not consider our lives as important enough, you want to take 5 naira from us, you want to take 10 naira from us. If the regulatory body doesn't, this factory would as well take it seriously. Because if we are not there, we can't patronize you. That's the point. If we are not there, we can't patronize you. The fact that we are still alive means to continue to patronize them. When you hear of cases of cholera, cases of typhoid, people treating typhoid on and off, it's as a result of the bad water we take. And and, supported by a few other unhygienic, practices that we engage in. But of course, if we see as a people, these factory owners, that we are responsible, that they are responsible for the health of Nigerians, for the health of the people, we will not have such cases. So it is on both sides. We're talking of, the regulatory body, leadership-wise, how have they taken it seriously? How have they taken this issue seriously? And then we're looking at, the factory operators. Are they responsible enough? Do they consider themselves responsible enough to take care of the health of Nigerians?
Okay, now still talking about taking this serious, when you go to some retail shop, you find out that most people or most persons, they buy products and they don't check the expiry date or batch number or registration number as directed by NAFDAC. They are not cognizant of those things. They just buy a product, you open it and you use it. And at the end of the day, you know what this do to the system or to the body. Now, what kind of sensitization will you say to this category of people who just buy things without taking cognizance of expiry date or even a NAFDAC registration number?
Yes, at this point, I would say as a journalist, this is where the media should come in, and play a part by sensitizing through jingles in different languages, different formats. But of course, we need to also look at ourselves. We are quick as a people this country to put every blame on government. Government hasn't been able to do this, government has been, but how have we been able to follow through some of these things ourselves? We are also the government. And so if we do not follow some of these things, hygiene is very, very important. And, I can't mention less, the things we have to do on our own. On our own, we need to consider these things as very important. I just can't see the reason why, the government has made provision for you to check if a particular product is very, very important or not. And then you don't even follow through to understand what to do and how to do it to keep yourself, safe. And that's just the issue. We as a people, we need to take ourselves seriously. I won't say this any less. We have to take ourselves seriously. We have to understand that our lives are in our hands, not in the hands of any other person. That's just what we have to understand.
Okay, we need more self-discipline to this. We shouldn't wait for just NAFDAC and all of that. Okay, now we move on to the next story onto this program. We move on to the next story onto this program, which is, we move on to the next story. Now, talking about FCT, we move on to the next story, the demolition in the Federal Capital Territory. Now, urging developers to bear demolition costs in FCT. Now, the Federal Capital Territory Administration has said developers found guilty of violating the land use will bear the cost of demolition their properties. The FCTA also said it would soon implement environmental laws which stipulate financial penalties on offenders. The coordinator of the Abuja Metropolitan Management Council, Shaibu Umar, who made this known at a press briefing over the weekend, said the measure had become necessary following the numerous abuses of building regulations as well as town planning violation. Umar, who also blamed erring developers for the flooding witnessed in Abuja in recent times, pointed out that most of the disasters were caused by building erected on floodplains. The AMC coordinator said when implemented, the development would save the government huge cost of logistics and also serve as a deterrent to recalcitrant developers. On the pace of demolition across the FCT in recent times, the coordinator said the government cannot afford to watch people putting their lives and those of others at risk. He said, we are not demolition because we want to. We are demolition because we have to protect people's lives. If people do not value their lives, we have the responsibility to protect them. He said the FCT administration, to its relevant agency, has played its part in ensuring that the city land use is adhered to in all neighborhoods. Now, talking about the Federal Capital Territory Administration, he has said that developers found guilty of violating the land use will bear the cost of demolition their property. Now, would you say this is a welcome development coming from the Federal Capital Territory?
I would like to say setting a city right, trying to organize a city cannot come at any better time. Can never come at any better time. It can never be convenient. Sorry. The only thing I would say at this point is that, you just have to put in appropriate measures. How and when do you communicate this to developers? That demolition would happen and how it would happen. What compensations are there? I remember when the current governor of Kaduna State was, the minister of the FCT. So many persons lost their lives, so many persons lost land, and quite a number of persons said they were never compensated for. I understand very well that Abuja has a master plan. Every minister that has come and gone has made emphasis that the Abuja master plan must stand. Abuja is a city that was planned before, the Federal Capital Territory was moved from Lagos to Abuja. But of course, these plans are not being adhered to. How do you allocate lands to people? We need to check that as well. You can't allocate land to people and then you come because their design or the structures do not follow suit. How did you follow? What process did you ensure that these lands, were gotten appropriately? Did you ensure that whatever design you stipulated were followed to the letter? We need to understand this. You don't just come and begin to administer medication after death. You will cause so much harm. And so we need to, make the FCT, the FCT administration needs to make people understand that following through processes is very, very vital, very important, so that we don't begin to have this fire brigade approach as trying to organize the city. I can tell you for a fact now that Abuja now almost looks like Lagos because, we've lost touch of what El-Rufai started at the time. And so I don't think this approach, these developers have taken loans from banks. They have taken different bank facilities, from different financial institutions. And then you want to take this from them. How do you expect them to pay back? What do you have, to cushion the effect of this demolition? We need to know that from the FCT. And I think it is not a good approach at the time. It is better to suspend whatever approach it is and then take a closer look at it so that it doesn't have the ripple effect. So that there's no increase in crime, and it's just so many social vices that may just crop up as a result of that.
Okay, that means the Federal Capital Administration needs a lot of work to do on that, not just on the developer.
Of course.
Okay, now
Yes.
aside from the Federal Capital Territory administrators sanctioning these developers, what about residents who dump refuse by the roadside, talking about canals, gutter, and all of those drainages, thereby creating water blockage? And this will lead to some of these minor flows. What kind of sensitization, or should I even say penalty or punishment, should be given to these offenders? Because they say little drops of water makes a mighty ocean. So what will you say to residents dumping refuse?
Okay. I think when you have your house, flooded, you have your parlor, you have your bedroom flooded, after a heavy downpour, I think that is punishment enough for us to go through. Because like I always say, I made mention when we started this program, self-discipline. We have to begin to talk to ourselves. Now, let me cite a very, very typical example. On Friday, I took sachet water. I was leaving the office, and I just couldn't dump this sachet water anywhere, just in the gutter. It was until I returned to the office that I had to dispose this sachet in the dustbin, the waste bin, we have in the office. That is the level of discipline we should have, not just dispose things anywhere. We call on government. Government has not come to pay our drainage. Who has contributed to this drainage being clogged? At the different depth, we have the rains coming now, and you see people as the rains are, are falling. As the rain is falling, people come move debris from their debts from their houses, and then they pour into the gutter in the hope that the rains or the water will wash this thing, and then it goes somewhere. It gathers somewhere. It clogs, the sewage. It clogs the gutter, and then it allows for I think we need as Nigerians, we understand very stricter measures. We understand strictness when it comes to ensuring that we follow through the rules, follow through regulation. So anybody that is caught, any environment, any vicinity, any office that is caught with that kind of thing, you have your gutters filled up, should be made to pay fine. That is another way government should look at this. It's another way of generating revenue. Ideally, human beings should not be harmful to themselves, but by this, we become harmful to ourselves. And we shouldn't call government. We have no right to call government when we have our gutters clogged by our own selves. When we throw dustbins, we throw, waste into these gutters. And so we shouldn't be this wicked to ourselves. I call it wickedness to oneself. That's just it.
Okay, now, thank you very much. Now, still on let's move on to the 2023 general election. It says, go get your PVC, says the Speaker of House of the person of Femi Gbajabiamila. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, Olufemi Hakeem Gbajabiamila, on weekend call on citizens of the country to go and get their permanent voters card to enable them participate in the 2023 general election. Gbajabiamila, who stated this during the 46th birthday anniversary and empowerment program of Honorable Comrade Chinedu Oga at Itam Amagu community in Ikwa local government area, Ebonyi State, noted that citizens of the country should see their registration and collection of their PVCs as their civic responsibility. The Speaker of the House of Representatives, who was represented by Abdullahi Said Abu Kadri, representing Ningi Walji Federal Constituency, Bauchi State, stressed that they should use the window period provided by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to register for their PVC. He commended the member representing Ikwa South Federal Constituency at the National Assembly for initiating and executing empowerment programs for the benefit of his constituent. Distributing the empowerment item to his constituent, August stated that the exercise remains an annual event designed to benefit his constituent and other citizens of the state. The items distributed include motorcycles, bags of rice, fertilizer, minibuses, clothing, amongst others. Flagging off the empowerment exercise, Governor David Umahi, who was represented by his deputy, Barrister Kelechi Eric Igwe, commended the celebrant for his enormous empowerment programs, which have impacted positively on the lives of the people. Umahi wished Oga more wisdom and grace as he pilots the affairs of his constituent. Now, talking about the 2023 general election, would there be any reason for a Nigerian who has attained the constitutional age, talking about 18 years of age, not to vote in this forthcoming 2023 election? Because when I go on social media, I see the enthusiasm among Nigerians saying that they are going to come out to vote in masses. It seems this 2023 general election is going to be different. So do you think there will be any reason that a Nigerian who is 18 years and above won't vote during this forthcoming election?
Sadly, I would say that most of those agitations on social media actually end on social media. Those agitations, those supports we have on social media do not translate to votes. But of course, year in, year out, after every election year, I'm happy that Nigerians are becoming a little more enlightened about elections. I will state this for a fact. Elections in Nigeria are actually, based on votes. Elections in Nigeria are based on votes, and we need to understand that our politicians know that our votes count, and that is why they buy votes. That is why they buy vote. They know that our votes count. And that is the more reason we have people advocating, agitating that, we go get our PVCs. So that when this election year, next year comes, we are not found wanting. People should translate your social media confidence into going to register and obtain your PVCs. That is how your votes will count. We know that in Nigeria, we do not collate votes. We do not vote online, that they do just the way they do in other parts of Nigeria. But of course, in Nigeria, we have our own approach. And we need to understand that something in particular works for us. It can't be any different. It has to be something that works for us. So we as Nigerians should understand that social media doesn't do it for us. Social media doesn't count as votes for us. I can't say this anymore than it is. So I support what Bajabi Amila said. We should have to go. Every Nigerian has to go and register and get their PVCs.
Okay, thank you very much. Now we move on to the next story on today's program is the IPOB. IPOB warns Governor Soludo, stop using military against your people. The indigenous people of Biafra has expressed sadness over the alleged killings of innocent people with no traceable links to criminal by Nigerian joint military operation in Ugbaru and Nnewi South local government areas of Anambra State. The secessionist group therefore cautioned the Anambra State Governor, Professor Chukwuma Soludo, to speak against the killings as his silence shows that he is allegedly competing with the Imo State Governor, Hope Uzodinma, in using the military to kill his people. It wondered if the governor was aware of the military invasion of the communities. They added that recent events showed that the governor was allegedly being persuaded and blackmailed into dancing to the tune of using the military against his people. While the group acknowledged that the military operative are getting rid of criminal elements in the state, it said it was not enough reason for them to randomly be slaughtering innocent people. In a statement on Sunday, the group media publicity secretary, Emma Powerful, said it was unimaginable that the Fulani-controlled military deployed in the area have been killing innocent people without any of the governors from the region condemning the act. It said, we don't know if Soludo is aware of this military exercise or is it the federal government plan to wipe out a larger number of Indigbo. The group said it was worrisome that the security agencies are killing the Southeast youth while the Fulani bandits are allegedly being recruited into the army and sent to the Southeast. It added that IPOB and the Eastern Security Network operative were doing their best to stop those perpetrating criminalities in the region. The statement says, IPOB family is deeply saddened with the ongoing massacre of innocent people with no traceable links to criminals by Nigerian joint military in an effort to curb criminality in the East, particularly in Anambra State and Imo. Now, what do you think about the indigenous people of Biafra? Do you see their agitation foreseeable? Is their agitation feasible? Because the indigenous people of Biafra have been in the news for quite some time, and we all know that they are agitating for something. Do you see this agitation coming to lifeline?
Yeah, at the risk of supporting, the agitations of Biafra, every other part, just like every other part of Nigeria, is entitled to state what they want and what they don't want. But the approach, with which they adopt in achieving this aim is what we call to question. This approach is what will not, emphatically, will not end them the realization of getting Biafra. You don't forcefully push people into, agreeing to be a nation. That is not how you do things. I understand you don't want a part in Nigeria anymore because you have been marginalized, in quotes, but you don't force people into becoming a nation. Now, I want to state this. We do not know the eastern part of Nigeria to be, the way they are now. Today is Monday. There is a seat at home in the east. This has crippled the economy of eastern Nigeria. We know how industrious, we know how enterprising the Igbo man is. And then you ask the Igbo man, the first business day of the week, to sit at home doing nothing. Money is being lost. Week in, week out. Any day Nnamdi Kanu goes to court, they will sit at home. Like last week, on Monday was sit at home. On Tuesday, Nnamdi Kanu was in court. They will sit at home in the East. It cripples the economy. Now, it calls to question, why won't Soludo adopt the use of the military? I would not want to believe that Soludo is trying to use the military to kill his people. No, he is not. Have these IPOB members not been accused of killing people? They have. Soludo is only resort now with the military. And we know that the military in Nigeria is one force that has the ability to keep peace in this country. And so if you do not use that, you will find out that the Anambra economy that we know as one of the most viable in Nigeria would be brought to ruin. And I see that is what Soludo is trying to prevent. If you do not check this, if you do not nip this in the bud, it will escalate and become something that one day you will hear that states in the East cannot pay salaries. States in the East cannot, engage in one infrastructure development or the other. And so I actually support Soludo. I support Soludo. The warning from IPOB is nothing to go by. I don't see it. It doesn't hold water. He is the chief executive of his state, and he would always seek what is good for the people. What is good for the people? They elected him. IPOB alone did not elect him. They elected him. The people of Anambra elected him. And so he has to stand for them. He has to protect them. So I don't think he's using it against the people. He's using it to keep the peace. He's using it to help the economy. He's using it to, make Nigerians, make other parts of the country know that, yes, we can do it. We can, keep it straight, keep it forthright. That's it.
I'll still ask this question again. In the southeastern part of Nigeria of recent, there have been a lot of killing, and unlike we already used to have a lot of killing in the northern part of Nigeria. Now, they have accused the governor of Anambra State for using the Nigerian army against the people of the state. And this allegation is a very sensitive one. So what's your general position on this allegation?
It is just an allegation. What evidences do they have? What evidences? What evidences do they have? It is just an allegation. I don't think he writes thinking Soludo. He's just new. He just marked 100 days in office. He would not want to sell his hand. He's new in government. So how do you think he's using it against the people? What have the people done against him that he wants to use the army against them? I just feel that IPOB is trying to cry foul, because they know that the military might is more than what they have. Military might is more than what they have. And so they're trying to say that Soludo is coming against them. Of course, they are the people of Anambra State. They have members, IPOB, indigenous people of Biafra. They have members in Anambra State. And so they expect the governor to, allow a level playing ground for everybody. And that will allow them, to infiltrate and do things that are not, people like, that are not in the interest of the people, but against the people. Of course, you've heard that during the sit at home, anybody that is found outside, IPOB members can kill and name such person. So why would you accuse Soludo of engaging the army, engaging the military in trying to keep the peace? If that would help the East or one state in eastern Nigeria come back or become viable economically, so be it. So be it.
Okay, we have been speaking with Mr. Joel Arua. He is a social commentator and a journalist and an ex-state developer as well. Thank you for being a part of the program. Thank you for having you.
Thank you so much. I'm grateful. It was a pleasure being on your program.
All right, bye-bye. Take care. So we go on to our next story on today's program, Government and Public Service. We take a look at other issues in the public sector, starting with the digital technology. Kaduna State is open for business, says Deputy Governor of Kaduna State. The Deputy Governor of Kaduna State, Dr. Hadiza Balarabe, has said that the Malam Nasiru El-Rufai administration has embraced digital technology, and it is encouraging the youth to key into the digital economy. Dr. Balarabe made this known during the quarterly plug-in Kaduna into the Business World Breakfast, which was organized by the Economic Development Council of the Kaduna State Government. The plug-in Kaduna into the Business World Breakfast is a social gathering which fosters and strengthens business opportunities as it provides a platform where investors and government officials interact. Speaking at the event, the Deputy Governor pointed out that Kaduna State has stayed true to the times, running what is today adjudged the finest form of open digital governance. She says the demographic data bank and many other characteristics of the survey are available online on the dashboard recently launched, which I believe provides useful information on the state of market in Kaduna State. Dr. Balarabe promised that Kaduna State government will continue making concerted effort in attracting investors by continuously improving the business environment. The Deputy Governor pointed out that government will achieve this through elimination of encumbrances to maintain the leading position in the sub-national ease of doing business ranking in Nigeria. She said that the Kaduna Investment Promotion Agency is investor-friendly, adding that it coordinates with government agencies on behalf of investors to remove impediments in doing business in the state. She says it is a one-step station for our investor, so it is now possible for the investors to invest in Kaduna from anywhere in the world by simply visiting their website. Dr. Balarabe thanked Governor El-Rufai for making the event a reality, as well as the effort of the members of the Economic Development Council, the Innovative Board and Management Team at Kadipa and investor-related MDAs for their contribution. We'll go on a short commercial break. When we return, the story unfolds. Stay with us.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing. Honorables, you human
on the point of order.
Honorables, you order.
They are not picking our calls.
Welcome back and glad you're still with us. Up next is the security operative. Governor Matawali flags off training of newly recruited guards. The Zamfara State Governor Bello Muhammad Matawali on Saturday flagged off training of the newly recruited community protection guards. He said Zamfara State under his watch is now moving towards implementing new security measures. The governor said his administration came up with additional measures for combating insurgency in the state, among which is the recruitment of CPG in each of the 19 emirate councils of the state. He said the decision to establish CPG was informed by his administration's desire to work out all possible options to deal with the increasing act of banditry causing loss of lives, untold hardship, and rupturing intercommunal peace in some parts of the state. Governor Bello further informed them of the tasks ahead of them and urged them to concentrate fully on their training. He says, as community protection guard, yours is a patriotic call. Your names will stand out in history as people with remarkable patriotism, selflessness, and love for peace. Only people with courage and bravery will offer to serve as guards of their communities, bravely standing up to face the brutal infamy of the bandits. The governor also called on them to work within the parameters of the to be clearly spelled out during the training. He pointed out that the newly recruited CPJ, they are agents for the restoration of normalcy, building peace and reenactment of the golden era of harmonious intercommunal relationship in the northern part of the country. Moving up to the pension administration story, Kaduna remits entitlement of 383 pensioners. Kaduna State government has released the gratuities and death benefits of retirees and families of deceased beneficiaries to various pension fund administrators. The Executive Secretary of Kaduna State Pension Bureau, Professor Salamatu Isa, who disclosed this in a statement, clarified the beneficiaries fall within the contributory pension scheme. Professor Isa further said that the entitlement of 383 pensioners or next of kin have been sent to the PFAs, adding that beneficiaries are advised to either visit the head office of the Bureau at Katuru Road or check its social media handles for their names. The Executive Secretary also said that the list of beneficiaries will also be sent to the Commissioner of Local Government Affairs and Council Chairman of all the 23 local governments. She recalled that the National Pension Commission has praised Kaduna State government for being up to the date in remittances to PFAs under the contributory pension scheme. Professor Isa also said that the Erufai administration inherited a pension liability of over 15 billion naira from the previous administration, but has so far paid about 17.5 billion naira to retirees in the old defined benefit scheme from February 2017 to May 2022. We take a look at the health sector. Kwara Governor approves recruitment of 197 doctors and nurses. The Kwara State Governor, Abdurrahman Abdurrazak, has approved the recruitment of 197 medical personnel, including doctors and nurses, to boost efficient service delivery in the state health sector. The approval included employment of 8 consultants. The Director General of the Kwara State Hospital Management Board, Mr. Said Aluku, disclosed this in a statement in Ilori, the state capital. The approval also covers 3 senior registrars, 13 pharmacy technicians, 6 pharmacists, 4 medical laboratory scientists, 5 scientific officers, 20 community health extension workers, 20 junior chill, and 23 hospital attendants. Aluko explained that doctors to be recruited include dentists to strengthen the new dental center, while the 8 consultants include 2 anesthetists to man the new intensive care unit. Aluka said the process has since begun, adding, however, that most of the new officers and health workers would be taken from the large pool of Kwarans who had earlier applied and had been interviewed for the job last year. We go to Kano State. Ganduji approved 33 million naira upkeep allowance for students in France. The Kano State Governor, Abdullahi Ganduji, has approved 33 million naira in upkeep allowance to be paid for postgraduate students from the state currently studying in France. A statement issued by the Commissioner for Higher Education, Dr. Maria Mahmoud Bunkure, on Sunday said the fund is part of the counterpart funding under the France Kano State Government Scholarship Scheme. The statement says, it will be recalled that in line with the government's numerous strive for improving the quality and standard of higher education in the state, the governor, on behalf of the state, has signed a bilateral agreement with the government of France to train scholars from Kano in French universities. The statement said through this scheme, hundreds of scholars drawn from the institution of higher learning in the state had completed and acquired master's and PhD degrees, just as many others are on their final lap of completing the program. Moving next to the presidential amnesty program, federal government revokes training contracts for former Niger Delta militants. The training contract awarded to Express Concern International for Niger Delta ex-agitator in its novel train employmental scheme administration, Milan Dikyo, said the contract was revoked over breach of the agreement. Egbe said the termination followed an allegation by a group concerned indigents of oil mineral producing state forum that the company diverted funds it received from the presidential amnesty program, revealing that the Amnesty Office had also activated its internal mechanism to retrieve the money it paid to the firm through a performance bond provided by the company. He added that each job awarded by PAP was secured by a performance bond provided by the benefiting firm that enabled the Amnesty Office to recover its money in an event of default by a contractor. We take a look at what's happening in the FCT is the demolition story. FCTA moves to upgrade day-to-day livestock markets. The FCT administration says plans are on the way to remodel the day-to-day livestock market to standard befitting the status of the Federal Capital Territory. The mandate secretary for the Agricultural and Rural Development Secretariat, Malam Abubakar Ibrahim, made this known on Sunday while briefing newsmen following the successful removal of illegal structure and businesses at the Kubo livestock market. Atlantic Television Network reported that the FCTA on Saturday demolished illegal mechanic workshops constructed on the land earmarked for livestock market at Kubo on Abuja-Nyanya-Kefi Expressway. Mr. Ekaro Atta, the Senior Special Assistant to the FCT Minister on Monitoring, Inspection and Enforcement, who led the demolition, explained that the exercise was initiated by complaints received from the FCT Agriculture and Rural Development Secretariat. Ibrahim said that the activities of illegal squatters and businesses at the Kubo market had for long constituted incoherencies to efforts of the Secretariat organize the market for conduct of livestock and businesses. The Secretary said that the Secretariat will immediately take possession of the land to ensure that the illegal operators do not return to the site. He warned that the task force has the mandate of the FCT administration not to only confiscate animals but prosecute defaulters. And this is where we call it a wrap on today's program, Government and Public Service. Here we x-ray and present issues and happenings around the 3 levels, branches, associated ministries, departments, and agencies of government, giving you an in-depth, unbiased, and factual reportage. And just in case you miss on the rest of the conversation, not to worry, you can kindly follow us on our social media channel, which is YouTube and Facebook, which is an Atlantic Television Network, and on Instagram, Progress. Thanks for watching and being a part of the program. I am Patient Obot. Have a nice day.
People into the country illegally. That is amazing. Honorables, you on the point of order. Honorables, you
and serve as role models today. ATN icons showing every Sunday 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. on Atlantic Television Network, StarTimes DTH channel 194, ATN Live on Google App Store, Facebook Atlantic Television Network, YouTube Atlantic Television Network, Instagram Atlantic TV Network, Twitter Atlantic TV Net. For sponsorship 0810 634 1777. ATN icons celebrating the giants of our time.
campaigns. What really makes an election year? Enough of the rhetorics. It's time for issue-based politics. 2023 elections. Who are the candidates? What do you know about them? Take a seat, relax, and join us for the 2023 elections on Atlantic Television Network, StarTimes, DTH, Channel 194, or ATN Live on Google Play Store and all our social media platforms. Twitter is at Atlantic TV Net. Facebook and YouTube is at Atlantic Television Network. On Instagram is at Atlantic TV Network. Elections 2023 from Mondays to Fridays at 8 p.m. Election 2023. We the people have a stake.
From the line across the ocean to the land beyond the mountains, through the Sahara, we bring all sport news, live analysis, expert